So, like I said earlier, man, I'm about to do something different. I'm about to sit here and step out. Like I said, being quiet is not an option for me anymore. I have to start just speaking truth and speaking the things that God puts in my heart. And one of the things I'm about to talk to you guys real fast about is how God desires to deliver us, and we have to understand that it's in God's nature. It's who He is, but we have to cooperate with Him. If we do not cooperate with God, then He won't be able to deliver us because we're not cooperating with Him. We have to willfully choose to sit here and side with God. Now, in me saying that, I'm going to show you a story in 1 Kings 18. This is about the prophet Elijah confronting the 450 false prophets. A false prophet is a person that is not of God and speaks things that are not of God, that are not true, but then profess that God told him these things. Children of Israel at this time they're in the land of Israel, and they're in the promised land, but because of our fallen nature, they are forgetting who God is. They're forgetting why they got the promised land. They're forgetting the reason why they're in the promised land is because of God. And now they're starting to sit here and serving other things that are not God's. And the dangers of certain things that are not God's, you end up doing things that God never called you to do, and participate in things that God never called you to participate in. One of the examples that of the children of Israel that were participating while they're in Israel in the promised land during this time was they were killing babies, sacrificing babies to these false gods. And the promise of these false gods, they were going to sit here and prosper them, bless them, give them water and land, blah, blah, blah. Never happened. But these people listened to these false gods, and look what they did, all in the name of these false gods. Things that God never told them to do, or never even came in the thoughts of God, but yet they're doing it. This is what happens when we drift away from God. This is what happens when we forget who God is, and we don't walk in a relationship with Him. We forget. Not only do we forget who God is, here's the kicker: we forget who we are. It's no way you can know who God is and forget who you are. If you know who God is, you'll know who you are. But if you forget God, then you forget who you are, and then you're capable of anything. You're capable of justifying things. And if you think these people that lived before Christ came are any different than you now, who we have Christ after His death and resurrection, we have Christ now, you think you're any different than these people? We're not. We think there's nothing new under the sun. They were killing babies all in the name of God. When we're aborting babies, they're doing the same thing. It's the same spirit behind it. Same spirit that was behind them sacrificing babies and throwing them in the fire and killing them out the womb. It's the same spirit that convinces people that abortion is not murder. But I'm not going to get into all of that. I'm just going to show you something. I'm going to show you that in spite of all this, God still has a heart to deliver and wants to deliver you. But look how far I'm going to show you in this story how far God is willing to go to get you to cooperate with Him so He can act upon your behalf. Elijah, 1 Kings chapter 18. And it came to pass after many days that the word of the Lord came to Elijah in the 3rd year, saying, Go present yourself to Ahab, and I will send rain on the earth. So Elijah went to present himself to Ahab, and there was a severe famine in Samaria. And Ahab had called Obadiah, who was in charge of his house. Now Obadiah feared the Lord greatly, for say it was while Jezebel massacred the prophets of the Lord that Obadiah had taken 100 prophets and hidden them 50 to a cave, and had fed them with bread and water. And Ahab had said to Obadiah, Go into the land, to all the springs of water, and to all the brooks. Perhaps we may find grass to keep the horses and mules alive, so that we will not have to kill any livestock, so they divided the land between them to explore it. Ahab went one way by himself, and Obadiah went another way by himself. Now, as Obadiah was on his way, suddenly Elijah met him, and he recognized him and fell on his face and said, "Is that you, my lord Elijah?" And he answered him, "It is. Go tell your master Elijah is here." So, to cut it short, I'm just giving you a little introduction of what's going on here. God calls Elijah. He is sent to go get Ahab's attention. Obadiah is the middleman. So Elijah went to go talk to Obadiah and then told Ahab to meet him in a certain place. I'm just going to paraphrase it because I don't want to make this longer than what it needs to be. So that's what happens. Ahab comes and says, and he treats him like, "Oh, what do you want now?" Like Elijah's a burden. Like you're about to bother me, because every time you come and talk to me, it's never nothing I want to hear. Of course, it's nothing you want to hear, because Ahab doesn't want a relationship with God. And when you don't want a relationship with God, you don't want to hear anything from someone that does have a relationship with God. You see that? That's always going to be the attitude. But anyway, this is Ahab's attitude. So anyway, Elijah tells Ahab, "Hey, I need you to gather all Israel and all the 450 prophets in a certain place." Ahab, make sure it happens. All of Israel, and then all these 450 false prophets. This is where I want to get into. This is the meat of the bones. This is what I'm talking about right here. Now, these people were serving different gods, for doing all kinds of things, and blah blah. And this is why God called Elijah to go get them. I'm tired of my people. I punished them, and you gotta think about this. God punishes us when we do the wrong things, not to sit here and be mean, but the punishment is to get you to direct you, to correct your behavior, to get you to go back the right direction. But for some reason, the consequences was the people were doubling down in their behavior instead of turning back to God. So now Elijah's here to sit here and trying to reason with the children of Israel to sit here and listen to God. So let's fast forward. Verse 21, 1 Kings 18, verse 21. He says, "And Elijah came to all the people and said, 'How long will you falter between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him, but if Baal, follow him.' But the people answered him not a word." See, stop right there. Again, Elijah's trying to get them out of their free will to choose God, but these people won't do it. They're flip-flopping. So they said nothing. So then Elijah said to the people, "I alone am left a prophet of the Lord, but Baal's prophets are 450 men. Therefore, let them give us 2 bulls, and let them choose 1 bull for themselves. Cut it in pieces and lay it on the wood, but put no fire under it, and I will prepare the other bull and lay it on the wood, but put no fire under it. Then you call on the name of your gods, and I will call on the name of the Lord. And a God who answers by fire, he is God." So all the people answered and said, "It's well spoken." Okay, cool. This is what they're going to do. So I'm going to paraphrase it right now, because I only got a couple minutes on here. What happens is Elijah lets those 450 prophets go first. Dude, they're going for hours. Basically from 9 to 6. So 9 a.m., that's a work day, to 6 p.m. Dude, the first 3 hours, Elijah's like, why is the fire not coming down? Maybe your God fell asleep. He's mocking them. And then he says, and then another 3 hours, hey, maybe they went to go use the bathroom, or maybe he forgot, maybe he has amnesia or something. Then after those 6 hours, the last 3 hours, they were like, dude, these false prophets start cutting themselves and making all kinds of noises, and nothing happened. So this is going on from 9 to 6. This is like almost a full day here. So Elijah said, all right, I'm done with your nonsense. He had them to sit here. He restores the altar, puts the altar representing the 12 tribes of Israel. And here's the beautiful part about this. And he puts water in it 3 times, has them put it 3 times. And then he says, God, as you have directed me, I did as you said. Put the calf on there, boom, boom. Now let your will be done. Elijah called down the fire. Boom! That fire hit that altar, took that sacrifice, and licked up all the water off the dust. Left nothing there. The fear of the Lord came upon the children of Israel, and they finally say, He is truly the God. And guess what happened to those false prophets? Then now God delivered them from their foolishness because the children of Israel finally is cooperating with God. That's so beautiful. But all that to get the children of Israel to cooperate. This is part one. I'll give you part two.